Welcome back for another story about Moses. This story takes place after the Hebrew people leave Egypt and is about their time in the desert. Let's see if you can name the two problems they face in the desert. Led by Moses, the people walked for weeks across the desert to their new land. They soon forgot they had been slaves in Egypt. They were hungry and grumbled. "We should have stayed in Egypt. We had plenty of food there. Remember all the good things we had to eat?" they said. "We had meat and bread and melons, onions and cucumbers. It would be better to be in Egypt than dying of hunger in the desert." God heard the people grumbling and said to Moses, "Tell the people I will give them meat to eat every evening and bread every morning." That evening, flocks of birds, called quails, landed on the people's tents and were easy to catch. So that night, everyone ate roasted quail. In the morning, the ground was covered with small white seeds. They looked just like frost. The people collected them, ground them into flour, made it into bread, and baked it. They called it manna because it was food which came from heaven. It was very good to eat and tasted like honey. I have a picture from this children's Bible storybook of the birds called quails. You can see them, they're kind of all around the perimeter of this page. And then these little white seeds is what they ground up into flour and made bread out of, and they called it manna. Every day the same thing happened. The people ate bread made of manna in the morning and roasted quails in the evening. On the sixth day, Moses told them to collect enough food for 2 days. This was so that they wouldn't have to work on the seventh day, the Sabbath, but would keep it as a holy day of rest. Now the people had plenty to eat, but soon they grew short of water. They were thirsty and started to grumble again. "We should have stayed in Egypt rather than die of thirst in the desert," they said. Moses prayed to God. "What shall I do with these people?" he asked. "They are really mad at me." "Take your stick and walk on ahead of the people. Then strike a rock with your stick," God said to Moses. Moses did as God told him, and when he struck the rock, a great stream of water gushed out. There was plenty of fresh water for everyone. God looked after the Hebrew people all the years they lived in the desert. He sent them food when they were hungry and water when they were thirsty. Can you name the two problems the Hebrew people had in the desert? If you said food and water, you're right. Those were their two biggest problems. Thanks for joining me. I hope you can join me next time for another story about Moses.